Yo, Jeff here. Welcome to the channel. We got the PFL and UFC both putting on events this weekend. In this video, I'm going to be going over the entire PFL card. I'm going to give my predictions on who I think will win, how I think they will win, and I'm also going to give some bet leans that I may or may not take myself. So let's get into this thing, starting off with the first fight of the night. So kicking things off in the welterweight division, we got Dominguez versus Meck. Now, I'm going to be honest, on some of these prelims and some of these fights, I'm not that familiar with some of these fighters. So I'm just going to be going off the records and maybe a few highlights, but I'm not going to be doing any super deep dives and sitting around and watching footage on some of these undercard fights. I just don't have that kind of time, to be honest with you. All right, so with that said, let's get into this. So both these guys don't really seem to have that good of records. I remember seeing Dominguez get sparked by Lorenz Larkin. He got KO'd pretty quick, and that seems like that's been his biggest step up in competition. Now, Meck, he really hasn't fought anyone that stands out as high-level competition to me. He's got a few losses by decision. So this is a fight that's hard to make a prediction for, but I'm guessing based off of just where I seen they train at, I'm thinking Meck might have some wrestling skills, and I'm thinking that maybe can win him the fight in this. I'm not super high confident on this pick by any means. I have zero clue what's going to happen, but if I'm going to pick Meck's going to win a decision in this fight. I think he's going to maybe use a wrestling, grappling game plan and should be able to control the fight. And I don't know how eventful it will be. As far as any bets go, Meck, his money line's at -192. Now, this might be one of them situations where someone would think dog or pass. So Dominguez is at +160 right now. I'm thinking this fight's going to go the distance, so I would maybe take the over 2.5 at -230. I don't think that's a bad number. Might be something worth pairing in a small parlay, but it's still not that bad. It's touchable at -230. So that's the lines that I'm looking at for this fight, and as I said, my prediction is Meck by decision. Let's move on to the next one. Up next at women's flyweight, we've got Saray Orozco versus Ilara Joanne. Now, this is an alternate bout for the women's flyweight tournament. So if someone gets injured or has to pull out of the finals, the winner of this bout will be the replacement. And that's just honestly not a good look in my opinion. Now, both these women, they just really don't have good records, just to be completely honest and blunt. I really don't like what I've seen from either one, to be honest. So I believe if Orozco has any kind of ground game, she can beat Ilara. Now, I believe it's going to be a stand-up fight. And if it is a stand-up fight, I believe Ilara can win it. I think it's going to go to a decision. So I think Ilara Joanne's going to win this by decision. But like I said, if Saray has any kind of ground game, I think she can win this fight because I just think Joanne has zero ground game. She got dominated by Liz Carmouche in her last fight. Just complete domination. But I'm going to pick Joanne in this fight because I do think it's going to be a stand-up fight. Now, as far as any bets go, I'm looking at that Joanne money line at -155. I really don't think that's that bad of a line if the fight plays out how I think it will, but if it goes to the ground, I don't think it's good at all. I also think it's going to go to a decision, so the over 2.5's at -360. That might be worth parlaying up with something. It's hard to really tell. So I got Ilara Joanne winning by decision in this women's flyweight alternate bout. Our next prelim in the lightweight division, we got Darragh versus Hamel. Now, this is two fighters that I'm really not familiar with. So I see Kelly is undefeated at 6-0, and Hamel is 11-6 with an up and down record. He's fought some tough guys in there, such as Usman Magomedov and Adam Boric. So he's been in there with some tough competition, but he's lost, and he's got a lot more losses. So 11-6 against the undefeated fighter. I've got to lean towards the undefeated fighter. I imagine he's somebody they're trying to build up. So maybe they gave him a winnable fight. But Hamel's been in there with some tough competition, so he might be something that Kelly has not seen yet. But I'm going to pick Darragh Kelly to win by decision. And bets go, I would, it's just either a money line for Darragh at minus 258 or the over 2.5, which is at minus 238. Not 100% confident in the over. I would maybe just go with the Darragh Kelly money line, maybe put it in a parlay or something, or take it straight. It's not that crazy, but this is one I think has potential for an upset, but I'm not 100% sold yet, so I'm going to think about this one more before I place a bet, or if I actually do place a bet, I might end up passing on this one, but I do believe Darragh Kelly will win by decision over Mike Hamel. In the lightweight division, Antonio Caruso versus Vinicius Cenci, and this is an alternate bout, so this will be the replacement if someone has to drop out of the final. And I'm not that sold on either one of these guys, but I think Caruso might have the edge in my mind, even though he's an underdog. So Caruso, from what I see on his record, he's gone out and tested himself in boxing. Now, these might not have been against high-level guys, but he still tested himself. He's lost his only PFL fight. He's only lost by decision, though, in his losses. And it seems like he might have tested himself a little bit more against a wider range of opponent, whereas Vinicius, he just lost to Brent Primus in the first round of this tournament. He made it to the third round. Unfortunately, I was not able to see that fight, and when I went to go watch it the other day, it's not on ESPN Plus for some reason, so I don't know what's going on with all that stuff. I did wanted to get caught up and watch that fight. Unfortunately, I could not. So it's Cenci, his record really doesn't pass the eye test from what I've seen. Looks like he's fought a lot of low-level people, and he really doesn't seem to have tested himself that much outside of his last fight. So I'm going to pick the upset. I'm going to go with the underdog, Caruso, in this fight. He's at plus 105 right now. So he's not really that big of an underdog, but I think he might be worth taking a small chance on. And I think he's going to win by a decision. So I can see this going over the 2.5, which is at minus 154 right now, which is not too bad. So I'm going to pick Tony Caruso to win by decision. But this is one of them fights I don't have 100% confidence in either one. I'm not that familiar with either one, so it's really hard to tell. Our next prelim in the bantamweight division, Magomedov versus Sarvarjon Khamidov. This is a good fight. This is an alternate fight also, so the winner of this could possibly find themselves in the finals of this tournament. Now, this is a fight that I don't mind if either one of these guys ends up being a replacement. They're both good fighters with really good records. Now, Magomedov, he's lost against Patchy Mix a few times. He's got a loss against Petroyan back in the day. But he's a really solid fighter with some decent wins. He beat Danny Sabatello. Now, Khamidov, he's undefeated. His last win was against Marcirley Alves, who won his first round match in the tournament. He was meant to be an alternate, but he ended up getting put in the tournament at the last minute, and he won his fight. So he will be in the second round. So he's got a win over him. He's got some wins in Bellator. So he's got a really good, solid record. So Magomed might be a bit of a step up. And, by the way, Khamidov was supposed to be in the first round of this tournament. So Magomedov might be a bit of a step up, but I don't know. I believe Khamidov, he's been around. He looks like he hasn't really shied away from good competition on his way up. So I think he might be live to win this fight. I really think he can win it. Now, Howie will win it, of course. For some reason, I just think this is going to be a lot of decisions on this card, and this is another one. I think Khamidov is going to win by decision. And as far as bets go, this is pretty even. They're both minus 110, so it's kind of pick who you think will win. The over 2.5 is minus 345. That's not bad, honestly. It might be something worth parlaying with. So these guys are evenly matched. This is a good fight. This is a great replacement bout if someone ends up having to drop out of the finals. So I'm going to pick Khamidov by decision as my official pick. I might even place a bet on that money line at minus 110. But this is a good fight that could go either way. Magomedov is a really good fighter. This is one I'm really looking forward to watching. Our prelim main event, women's flyweight. We got Jenna Bishop versus Ekaterina Shakalova. Now, this is an interesting fight. I believe both these women are primarily grapplers. So this might end up being kind of a stand-up fight because sometimes these grapplers just kind of cancel each other out, and it turns up into a kind of a sloppy, boring stand-up fight, and that might be what happens in this fight, in my opinion. I think so. Jenna Bishop, she beat Kana Watanabe in her first round matchup. She's got a few losses, but they're really not bad against Dakota Ditcheva and Taila Santos, so those aren't bad losses. And as far as Shakalova goes, she beat Juliana Velasquez in her first round tournament bout. She won pretty easily. Velasquez doesn't really have any ground game at all, so she was able to get a quick submission, make it look pretty easy. Now, she does have a loss against Aspen Ladd and Bellator recently, so there's that. Now, I think this fight's probably going to play out on the feet. I think Jenna Bishop might be a little bit more skilled. I do think she's the better grappler, but I don't know if she's like that far ahead that she's going to get a quick submission on Shakalova. So I would say Jenna Bishop might win kind of a sloppy, boring stand-up fight with grappling mixed in. So I'm just going to go with Jenna. I think she's just going to get it done. This is a fight, though, that can go either way, in my opinion. I think it's kind of up for grabs, but I'm going to go with the Bishop side. I think she's going to win by decision. Now, Bishop's money line is at minus 135 right now, so that's not bad, but I really don't have the utmost confidence in either one of these women to win. So I might stay away from the money lines. Now, the over 2.5 is at minus 250 right now. So I don't think that's that bad. And that's something that I might end up taking a little bet on. I'm gonna think about it some more before I actually fully decide. But that over 2.5 looks pretty good right now. So let's get into the main card. In the bantamweight tournament, we've got Justin Wetzell versus Mando Gutierrez. I think this is a really good fight. This is a fight that I am really looking forward to. I think it has the potential to be very exciting. I think both guys are gamers. I think both guys aren't afraid to bring the fight, and I believe that could potentially lead to something very fun to watch. So Justin Wetzell, he really surprised me in the first round of this tournament when he beat Kasim Kazimov. He was a big underdog. I did not think he was going to win that fight, but he brought it, and, he got it done, and here he is in the second round. Mando, he was also an underdog in his first round fight. He ended up submitting Francesco Nuzzi in the first round, and, both were surprising wins that I did not see coming, and now we got them matched up in the second round, and let's see what happens. I do believe, since they are both gamers, since they will both bring the fight, that it comes down to who has the better technique at that point. And in my opinion, I believe it's Justin Wetzell. I believe he's might be a little bit higher level as far as his overall skill and technique. And if they're in a dogfight, I think that will be what wins them the fight. Now, there is a possibility of Gutierrez catching him with something But I believe Justin Wetzell will be just a little bit more skilled, a little bit more talented, and I believe he's going to win this fight. So I do believe he's going to win by a decision, but this is one that I'm not super confident on as far as it going the distance or not. You know, with either one of these guys, we could see a finish out of nowhere kind of thing. With just especially with how Mando fights, but I believe Wetzell will be there to answer the call. I think it's going to go the distance, and as far as bets go, Wetzell's at -198 right now, and I think that's a pretty good number. And if you think Mando's a good dog worth going on, he's let me take a look. He is at +164 right now, and you know, for a dog, that's not bad, but I think Wetzell's going to win by a decision. So the over 2.5's at -175, but like I said, I don't really have confidence on any over-unders in this fight, so I would probably just stick with the money line, and I'm going to go with Wetzell by decision. Up next, we got a lightweight semifinal, Brent Primus versus Alfie Davis. Now, this is a fight that I think Brent Primus is going to win this fight. Now, Alfie Davis, in his first round fight against Clay Collard, he got a very impressive win, but it was legitimate. But it's not something that I believe he will ever be able to replicate as far as how it happened. I think it was kind of like a freak thing almost, but it was a legitimate win. I think Primus is too much of a dog. He's too tough. Most of Primus's losses have come from just tough, badass Russian dudes, and then like a prime Michael Chandler. So he's really hasn't lost against any awful MMA fighters, and I think he's just a bit of a dog. I think he's just a tough fight for a lot of guys in this division. So I believe Brent Primus is going to win this fight against Davis. Now, Davis, I'm not saying he's bad, but I don't really think he's as good as his last win would have people believe. And I think he's just kind of got a bad matchup against Primus here. So I believe Primus is going to win by a decision. Now, there's always the possibility that he just outdogs him so much that Davis fades and Primus is able to find a finish, but I believe it will go to the scorecards. So right now the Primus money line is at -175, and I think that's a good spot, honestly. I think that's a really good number for Primus in this fight. I'm probably going to jump on that. The over 2.5's -215. I would just stick with the money line in this, and if you think Davis is a live dog, he's at +145 right now. But like I said, I believe Primus will win by decision and move on to the tournament final. At bantamweight in a semifinal tournament bout, we got Marcirley Alves versus Jake Hadley. This is a pretty decent fight. Now, Marcirley was kind of put into the tournament at the last minute, and he ended up winning his first round fight by a close split decision. Now, Hadley, he looked really, really good in the first round of that tournament. He ended up getting a submission win over his opponent, Matos. And he looked really good. He looked a lot better than I thought he was going to look, to be honest with you. So this is an interesting fight. Now, Marcirley, he's got a loss against Khamidov, who's going to be fighting earlier in the night. And but overall, he really doesn't have a bad record. Now, Hadley, he's had some UFC time. I think he went 4-3 in the UFC, which isn't bad at all. It's completely respectable. So this is a tough fight for me to pick. I think Hadley's the favorite, and he should be. But this is one of them fights that I just kind of feel like Marcirley might end up performing better than we think. You know, I think he might end up winning this fight. It's honestly not anything I'm super confident about. It can go either way, but officially I am going to pick him to win by a decision. And I think he just might be able to just simply outpoint Hadley. Now, Hadley, like I said, he looked way better than I thought he was in his last fight, and he is rightfully the favorite. Now, will he be able to do that? He's lost against some guys in the UFC that are not super high level, and I'm not saying Alves is super high level. I'm just saying Alves might be one of them guys who just is able to beat him. So Jake Hadley's at -166, and Marcirley Alves is at +140. And yeah, I'm probably going to take a shot on that underdog line at plus 140. Now, the over 2.5 is minus 220. I don't think that's a bad line either. I do see this fight going the distance. So this is one of them fights that I can see the underdog winning. So I'm going to roll with the underdog, Marcirley Alves, to win by decision. So I completely forgot there's a non-tournament bout on this main card. In the lightweight division, we got Mansour, Barnaoui, who I'm sure I butchered the shit out of that last name, versus Archie Colgan. This is a fight. I'm not that familiar with either one of these fighters, just from looking at the record. So Colgan seems like one of the guys they're trying to build up. He's undefeated. He's 10-0. He's going up against Mansour, who's, his biggest win seems to be over Alfie Davis. He also, he's lost to Brent Primus in the past in Bellator. He's got a few, he doesn't really have the best record. 21-6, which isn't awful. It's not bad at all, but I feel like they're matching him up against a guy who's undefeated on the main card, because I imagine they're trying to put some shine on the undefeated guy. So I've got to go with Archie Colgan to win this fight. He's a heavy favorite, but it's another one of them fights. I think it might go to a decision. Colgan, most of his wins are by decision. Mansour, he's got his losses against the high-level guys in Bellator have been by decision. I believe this fight will go the distance and Colgan will win. Now, as far as bets go, I think Colgan's line might be a little too high. It's at minus 360 right now. And then Mansour's plus 285, but I really don't feel good about him winning the fight. Now, anything can happen. He does have a lot more experience. But the over 2.5 is minus 230, and I don't think that's bad for especially how many times Colgan has won by decision. This is just a fight that seems like it could absolutely go the distance, so that over 2.5 at minus 230 doesn't seem bad. Yeah, I think this is just like set up for Colgan to have to display his skills, I'm assuming they put it on the main card so more people see him fight, and he's a guy they're trying to build up. So I believe Archie Colgan will win by decision. In the co-main event, women's flyweight tournament semifinal, we got the veteran Liz Carmouche versus Ilara Dana. Now this is an interesting fight. Liz Carmouche, she's been in the game a long time. She's kind of getting up there in age, but she's really showing that she can still do what she does, and that is win with grappling, win with pressure. She still has the will to win in her. But she's going up against Ilara Dana, who's younger. Now, Ilara Dana, I think she's a super sloppy fighter. I don't think she has that good of technique at all, but she's another one of the women who she's won from a lot of her fights because she's got the heart. She's not afraid to get gritty. She's not afraid to do what she's got to do to break the other girl's will and win a fight. That's what I predicted in her first round matchup, and that's exactly what she did. I don't think she had better skill or technique, but I think she wanted to win way more than that other woman, and she did. But she's going up against Liz Carmouche. Liz Carmouche is only lost by submission like twice early in her career. One does against Ronda when Ronda was on that amazing streak. She's only lost by decision in her career. So I believe she's going to beat Dana in this fight. I don't know if it's going to be by a submission or a decision, but I believe Liz Carmouche should have way more technical skill in this fight, and I believe she's going to win. There's always a possibility that Dana just pulls off a crazy upset, but I just don't think this is the kind of fight she can win. Now, I guess the only thing she really has going for her, in my opinion, over Carmouche is her age. But her best attribute is something that Liz Carmouche also shares, which is the will to win, the heart of a lion. So age is about the only good thing that Dana has going for her in this fight. And that might win her the fight, but I don't see it happening. I think Carmouche is going to win. I think Carmouche is going to win by decision. I think Dana's going to be tough, and she'll be able to survive and see the final bell. Now, the odds on this fight, Carmouche is at minus 800. That's way too high for me. I see the over 2.5s at minus 166. The unders plus 130. So, depending on whether or not you think Carmouche can get the finish, or if I think it, that might be the direction I go. But right now, I think Carmouche is going to win a decision. So, I might look at that over 2.5 at minus 166. Let's get into the final bout for the card. We're at the main event, lightweight semi-final bout. Gadzhi Rabadanov versus Kevin Lee, who's stepping in kind of at a late notice as a replacement. So he's kind of just jumping in the tournament without having to win a first-round bout. But he did win his last bout in a different organization. So props to Kevin Lee for stepping in and taking this fight, but I believe he's going to get destroyed. I think Gadzhi's been looking pretty badass lately, and I think he's going to destroy Kevin Lee pretty quick, especially with it being kind of a last-minute replacement. And I don't think Kevin Lee's like that good of a fighter, to be honest with you. I think he's his best days are behind him, and his best days really weren't all that great to begin with. Now, he's got some good wins. He's been in there with a who's who of competition. I won't ever deny that. I just don't ever think he was as good as he was touted to be at one point. And I don't think he's done that great outside of the UFC either. And I think this is just a bad matchup for him. I think Ramadov is on a tear right now. He's winning a lot of fights. He's won a lot of fights in a row. He's got some good wins over Brent Primus. He destroyed Mark Duquesne in his the first round fight of this tournament. He's just locked in, and he's in prime form right now. He's a bad dude. I think he's gonna get a quick KO finish over Kevin Lee, probably ground and pound, possibly a sub, but I think he's gonna get the finish in this fight. And but officially I'm gonna go with Gadzhi by KO. So Gadzhi's at minus 1450, which is just, that's just way too much for me to even mess with. He obviously should be a huge favorite. Now the under 2.5's at minus 230, and I think that's something I'm probably going to jump on, to be honest. I think that's a really good line. If you think Kevin Lee can somehow pull it off, he's at plus 850 right now, but good luck if that's the direction you go. But yeah, I think Gadzhi's going to make it look easy with a quick KO finish over Kevin Lee. So that's all my predictions for this entire card. Now, I will admit, I'm not quite as familiar with a lot of the fighters on this card as I was with the last week's PFL event, especially with that main event of Jason Jackson versus Thad Jean. And honestly, I'm not quite as hyped as I was last week, but that's just how it goes in the fight game. Hey, if you watched this video, I appreciate you. If you want to give a like or subscribe, I would appreciate that too. It's all good either way. That's it for me. Until next time.